I'm in Sedona right now, which is weird because Arizona's Pacific time right now.
That's
And
probably why you have rocks in your stomach.
yeah, well, I've been doing really good with it. I've been doing the scheduling, for a couple of weeks. You know, kind of just took it over, and haven't had any hiccups except for this morning. And really, the reason that I asked you if you could move it back was because I purged all last night after purging the night before. So I worked late, so I slept in the office. I have a mattress and a pillow, and but man, all night long it was just pure bloody hell. It was pure bloody hell, and I got up about 7 because it was so bad I couldn't lay down, you know.
Shoot.
And so I'm like, man, I got to do something. I can't. I don't think I can do this show at 9. So I ended up going to I messaged you, and then I went to this little place just to have a little sandwich, and I had 4 Sprites while I was there trying to settle my stomach. But it took me about an hour and a half. I didn't eat. I ate like 2 bites, and I just sat there like I was like this the whole time, just trying to like equalize everything, investigate, align everything. What is it? And nothing mental, nothing emotional. Just God, just like. But yeah, that's par for the course right now, though, from what I hear.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about you after 11. I was good until right about when we were going to start. And then I felt this like fear energy around, and I was like, huh, weird.
That's weird.
I know. And I was like, what's that about? And then, we don't look at the other side of it too closely because then we draw attention, right? And so just kind of shine the light on the whole thing. But for a minute, I got kind of sucked into the whole part. Sometimes I'll see things online and I can feel the other side seeing the same thing and catching the energy of it.
Yeah.
And today I was like, oh, interesting. So, you've got viewers that are not for you, and you have viewers that are for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're all watching. And then all your guests, too, right? Like, you've had Patty Cotarobos on here.
Oh, yeah.
And her and I started publicly at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. So I was so happy she was around. She started with a newsletter, and I was out playing music. And it was around the same time that Eckhart Tolle had his awakening on the park bench. This whole
Now, what years?
kind of
What are we
thing.
talking? What year is this we're talking?
Like 2004,
Yeah.
long time,
She,
beginning into early 2000s.
yeah, because I mean, like, from my understanding,
Yeah.
and she probably didn't have much traction until then, but she was, I think, doing this since like the 80s.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I
Yeah.
caught wind of her when I needed support,
Right.
because I called out to the universe. I was like, I need support here. I don't know anybody who's doing what I'm doing and knows the stuff I know. And then she came around and I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
And so it was like, joining the wave, right? The surfers on the wave. So, yeah, I know. I hear from older light workers that they were doing it in the 70s and the 80s. And for sure, Sunrise Ranch has been around since 1945.
What is that? Sunrise Ranch.
That's that place in Colorado where Barbara Marx Hubbard was parlaying, and they've been doing light work and that whole thing since 45.
Holy crap!
I know. So
What's the
my mom
What's the
was
name
named
of that? What's the name of that place?
Sunrise Ranch. Check it out because we could have
Sun.
a gathering there, Todd. And then also
Do you
they
know
have some
them?
festival that happens every year there.
Wow.
I can't remember what it's called. Not Unison. I'm not sure which one it is.
Is it near?
Anyway,
Is it near Denver? Where is it?
it is.
In the
No,
west?
I don't know. It's nestled in the mountains.
Probably in the West Bank.
I've only been there one time.
Yeah.
I played there and went to a co-creators convergence there,
Mm.
and it was great. It was super beautiful. What I loved is my mom was born in a concentration camp the same time they founded that place. So while
Your
there
mom was born
was,
in a concentration camp. You never told me that. I did not know
mm-hmm,
that.
yep,
Wow, that's wild.
February 1945. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so talk about ancestral stuff, and that all that stuff's in my DNA. I dealt with that years ago, the whole Jewish thing, and lineal forgiveness.
Yeah.
And when we started, you were talking about your tummy and ancestral stuff and old ancient stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, you know what it feels like to me? And I don't know. I'm just giving you my hunch.
Sure.
But I think it's probably in some way fairly accurate. It feels like to me that the physical body, our vehicle, in this time, right? That when we came in the door, or I can just speak for myself, when I came out of the birth canal, there was already certain properties of fuckery, or whatever you want to call it, but certain changes. Maybe it was DNA, whatever, but physical, right? That was not the original blueprint, or whatever you want to call it, because as this has been happening to me the last 2 days, and I've done a lot of purging. I mean, I've done purging consciously for at least 2 or 3 years, and I do a lot of it in dream state, in lucid dream, and which is really cool. But for some reason, after I requested, can I do this in dream state? And I mean, probably for a year and a half, up until just very recently, that's most of the time. That's how it's happened. Like 90% of the time. Not near the discomfort that I'm having right now, but it feels, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like the physical properties that were implanted, let's put it that way, are altered. I would say implanted, because because I actually like looked inside and I could see like these rocks falling away, like dislodging, and and you could even see like the sore, right? And I could see also that it was like healing very quickly, right? So I don't know. I think it's not me. I mean, I think, in fact, I saw a lot of comments from people that were saying that they're going through a lot of this in the last couple of days. Well, the eclipse, we're in the middle of an eclipse corridor too.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm not an astrologer, but I would imagine the energies in an eclipse corridor. So I'm expecting. I'm not expecting anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if this lasts, throughout this period. Because I know, as much as it is personal, I know that I'm part of something that's also doing a lot of collective work, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're one. So the only way to stay safe from any of that stuff is, being in your power of your heart light. And like you said, doing the work, whatever your work is for your lineage and your ancestors and what's happening here in this moment where you're standing. Sedona's a powerful place too. Lots of ley lines there. We did a 13-point galactic water medicine wheel in Angel Valley, Sedona.
Wow.
So there's a big vortex there. I know my daughter throws up every time I take her to Sedona and we leave. When she leaves, she throws up.
When she leaves, well, that's
know.
probably a good thing.
Yeah.
This is my 11th time here. Now this time I'm here for an extended period. Like until the end of the year, most likely.
Wowzers. Okay.
Most likely. And
okay. All right.
but I've never had the brutal. Like I know people have just been spit out, chewed up and spit out. I've always had very, I guess you would say, psychic, and I've had lots of things happen. Animals, like I came face to face with a big owl last year. I got called out on the land, but yeah, I definitely have a connection here. So being here right now, I totally respect the fact that I'm here and I work with Mother Sedona every day, on a
All right.
personal level.
You do it. You
Yeah.
do it. I'm grateful to the work that everybody's doing, wherever they're standing. So, that heart power, light power. I had a super huge, amazing thing happen that I wanted to share with you.
Please.
The audience that you have is understanding of the supernatural and the extraness of what's really going on here. And so I appreciate being able to be candid and just catching people up. When I got married, I guess 18 years ago, on my wedding day, I was standing next to this tree in this house in Austin, Texas, and I was pretty fresh from Canada. And I had this momentary connection with two other Heidis in two other different realities, two other different dimensions. So there was myself, and then I saw this blonde Heidi, and then I saw this redhead Heidi, and we all saw each other in that moment, and then it was over. And I was like, wow, that was very interesting.
Now, was it? So it was.
That was 18. That was 18 years ago.
Okay.
I just saw it.
Yeah, I got you. That counts. I mean, that's real.
Yeah. And it was interesting because in my teens, I always colored my hair red. And then in my 20s and 30s, I always colored my hair blonde. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, so that's interesting. So about a week ago, I guess everything just landed, and I saw my other selves in the other dimensions, and have since been able to hold that open. And so I've been having these dreams for, I bet, forever, reoccurring dreams. And in the dreams, I am in another life. I'm the same person in another life. And
are you the same? Okay.
I'm me, but I'm in another life, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, I have a different house, and I drive a different car, and my profession is more in alignment with who I am for reals and my inner callings. And I always feel like, God, I love it here. And then I wake up and I'm like, it's just not quite syncing up around here, the way it is for me in these other lives that I have. So I was like, okay, interesting. So like I said, I woke up from a dream of one of my other lives, and it was me, the blonde me. And she spends her days literally just trying to be on time getting to concerts and sound checks. And I know I'm a musician, and many people know I'm a musician. But in this world, I have to do a lot of things, and I get to do a lot of things. And so it's not always like lined up all the way, right? It's like, in this world, music doesn't pay really unless you're famous. And really we're the only brand of profession where people just like steal your work, use it all the time, and nobody makes any money. It's bizarre. Like I had 650,000 plays of a song last month and made $68.
That's ludicrous.
So it's like,
that's ludicrous.
Okay.
We're working on a solution for that. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah, I hear it. I know.
But I won't go into the details, but
I got you. So, and there's a few of us working on it. So thank you. And I'm on there with you. So anyway, so Sunday I go to this womb clearing workshop. My best friend from Kauai gifts me with an early birthday present. Her friend is going to be here from Kauai. Can I go to her workshop?
Who are your friends in Kauai?
Try this thing. Her name's Jolene Ann Rose, and she's a acupuncturist and a Chinese medicine doctor there, and she's fantastic. And she also has a new yoni steaming business. Okay. So she does all that.
I've got a friend that does that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's super sweet, and it's really good stuff. So Sunday, I had these other dimensions of myself open, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use this workshop to my benefit because I don't have blocks. I know very well how to take care of myself and how to keep myself healthy and well and protected and safe and do the work and then some. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go meet her friend. I'm going to work with these other dimensions of myself that I've got tapped into now. So
Can I interrupt you? I just want to ask you
yeah,
something. Well,
yeah,
because so many people come on here and so many people I just want to try to get an idea of what that feels like, because I know that what you're experiencing and what you've experienced, we're all going to get there. It's so it helps. But so like, what does that mean?
yeah.
Like what does that mean that they both opened up and they've stayed? They're staying. It's not like before, and you're going to pull from them. Are you like, I had a friend the other day telling me how she's doing whatever she's doing, and she's very aware that she's walking down the street, and another aspect is walking down the street with a friend, and she can see everything, right? So like, how does it work for you?
Well, on Sunday, I was able to connect our wombs and our hearts together with rainbow energy
Wow.
in a trinity. And the tears streamed for all of us. Yes, because that connection has never been like that. I've not ever been that aware. And in these separate dimensions, be able to connect. And so, other women were connecting to their wombs, and I was connecting to two other dimensions of wombs and hearts of the same, the same me, but in a different facet, right?
Now,
So it was amazing. It was amazing.
were these? It sounds like it. I want to hear about this. So, were these other dimensions? Do they look like Earth? Are they like humanoid?
The way I'm seeing the other two, it's more like a sacred space situation.
Okay.
They're protecting as well as I'm protecting, so
Right.
that we're able to do the work that we're doing.
I got you.
And so more like golden light, yeah.
Right.
In the dream space, though, I got a different street, a different house. I got a different watch. I got a different hairdo. Like that whole thing. And the other one is way different. The other realm is way different. The one with the blonde Heidi is very similar to me. Except it's more abundant, wealthier. I don't get a sense of loss or pain. So, here we have children dying of starvation. There isn't that. Like in that other realm, that isn't happening. It's a very loving realm where things are working for each other. Everything is working for each other. Now the other one, not so much. It's in that other realm, the redhead Heidi is like an athletics person. She's like an athlete person. It's more like, it feels like more gladiator than anything, honestly. So maybe more battle is going on there.
Does it feel? Does it feel like you're like in the middle, like one extreme?
No, it feels like a triangle. It feels like three, this place, those other places, because home base is central heart light, right? Central heart light, and so we all share that same central heart light. I don't think you have to go different places. I think you just, and I got a sense of this when I was a teenager and I left to go on tour. I felt like I had to go out to spread the message to bring in the awakening. And yet, in hindsight, I could have used my energy probably from anywhere that I was to do the same thing,
Right.
But at that point, I thought physically moving, which, a lot of things happened because I did physically move, right? Like I learned to work with the water and help move energy lines. And, this was in the beginning, what I call the beginning, and really when the awakening came in. So then on Monday, I had the worst headache of my life, and I couldn't hear it in my left ear. So all this happened on Sunday. on Monday, had a terrible headache, and I couldn't hear out of my left ear. And I was like, oh my God. And then finally, I was like, what do I need to clear here? Like, what's the problem? You know, not a purging, but something needed to be situated properly in order for me to be able to move forward with the new information and the new energy in a good way. So I went outside, and thankfully I live on 10 acres and pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And I was home alone. The internet had kicked out at work, so I had to come home to work. And I literally just consciously connected with the other two and planted my bare feet and put my arms up, and they did the same thing. And I just prayed for all three of us at the same time for the healing of all our ancestral relations in every dimension and every timeline, and the balance to be restored in every dimension, in every timeline, in every way, and for the highest, most divine unfolding for me in every dimension, in every timeline, in every way, for every ancestor and every relation I've ever had. And then the headache went away instantly.
Wow.
And everything was fine. So it's that thing of backing us into a corner until we have to search for that solution, you
right.
know, like until we have to really get that next level. And that's what I'm saying. On this planet, like, we can be kind of tough minded about things sometimes, you know, like, it takes a minute.
Stubborn.
Sometimes it takes a minute, right? Just like, so I thought you might find that interesting.
That is, I think it's fascinating. I mean,
very interesting for me. I mean, this is first time, and
yeah.
No, I'm not crazy, and
no, you're not crazy.
Still, you know, as is, and
hey, there's
else.
A lot of this coming out now. We have a lady that comes on, sister comes on, Elsa Dillon from Byron Bay, Australia, and so she met a man about 10 years ago, or 12 years ago. In the next 10 years, they get married and have 8 kids.
Oh,
and
wow.
They're all communicating with their ET aspects. Even the little ones are drawing pictures. Some of them are having more. But the last time we talked, they had now been interfacing with the exact number, and I think there's 10 of them. There might be 2 or 3, like, for the older kid's boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. They all live in the same place. And so whatever it is, 12 people, they're interfacing with the exact 12 people, their aspects, in Egypt. And it's pretty interesting. See, all this stuff's coming out now.
Huh.
Yeah. See, and they work together. Like, she works with her aspect over there, right? And they do stuff like you're talking about. But this is pretty extraordinary. Now, I know your story, which is extraordinary. And if anybody hasn't listened to the first show we did together, Heidi Little, just query on YouTube or Facebook, SoulSpeaks 5D, Heidi Little. Fascinating story, but the fact that it's a triad.
Yeah.
That just changes everything to me. That
right?
That just totally beyond exponential in terms of impact. So what happened
right?
What happened after that? After your headache cleared?
That's it. We're doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're doing the work. I mean, they have information from me, and then I realized, I heard, I don't want to say they told me, I heard that because we are the planet here to do the ascension in love, that we actually have the most power out of all of the dimensions.
I believe that.
So at first I thought they were helping me.
Right.
And because, you know, like they have things that I've been trying to manifest in this lifetime. And they were like, no, yes, we'll help you. And you're going to help us even more, because what you guys are experiencing here, like, we're all warriors on this planet. Like, we came here and we're like a bunch of badasses. here on the planet at the same time to make and bring and become the most love anything has ever had out of all consciousness of creation. So it's like, this is like, they say we've done this over and over again, you know, this whole thing in different facets. And I remember so many past lifetimes. It's insane. So, we literally are the most powerful creation who is able to do such multifaceted work that echoes out to all the dimensions and all the timelines and all the universes. So I knew we were strong, you know, like I knew, because we have to be. Look at the things we have. We have all these crazy diseases, and we have, like, you know, guns and like all this other stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone that I've talked to over the years, like Franco Di Nicola, other people, I can't recall everything now, but
I got you.
These are people that would tap into something like that, right? Like Franco, you know, all the time. But what they all tell me is, and I've always felt that, and I've said this on this program for years, that we're healing all timelines and dimensions, and we do have the most power because we have the broadest range of polarity, right? I mean, it's the densest, so we have access to everything our aspects have, but also to the densest. And but they all say that this is the toughest school. Dolores Cannon said it. This is the toughest school. But there are billions and billions of souls lined up to come here.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and above the bodies, we're all working together.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just a matter now, and that's why I do the work I do with bringing people's souls down into their bodies. They can walk around down here. You know, it's like, where are people cut off? You know, you can look at people walking down the street and see where their soul stops. Like, I can anyway. You know, it's like, is it above the body? Is it halfway down through the head? Is it into the shoulders? And I mean, like, some people are carrying in, like, past lifetimes of, like, you know, being a whale. You know, and they're not even connected to, like, their feet in a human way, right? And it's like bringing that soul down into the body. And I've always had this vision I'm going to share with you, Todd. It's on the plane of vision is when I first saw it. And it's myself with all this armor on, and on one side is peace and the other side is war. And over the years, what's happened is we've all come together and we're all walking together now. So, I mean, that's a really big deal, because the separation was really hard, right? It's like, oi, there's this and then there's that, you know, but now everybody's coming together, and we're on that same kind of road, that same journey together. And I mean, it's happening. Yesterday, I couldn't believe it. Like I've seen this and known this all along, because I remember being born. And so, you know, like the first 27 years, I think I told you this before, like, I thought everybody knew, you know, like, and that it was just like, and then it was like, wait a minute, like, there's war and people are hurting you and all this stuff. So, you know, maybe there's something up here. And then it was like, oh yeah, oh, what? They fell asleep? What? You know, like, what? So I have to talk more? Like, I have to sing more? I have to tell more? I have to speak more? I have to do more? I was like, oh my God. And then now, though, decades later, yesterday I was at my kids' soccer game, and at the end of the game, because it was their last one for the season, I did not instigate this. I had nothing to do with this. I didn't know about it. Nothing. The parents started running up to make a parent-to-parent bridge for all the kids to go through. And, like, are you kidding me? Like, we're in a small town, and they self-organized in honor and love. I was like, oh my God, yay! And I'm like, my Steve is there, and this other woman is there, and I'm like, come on, oh my God, they're doing it! Like, let's go! And they were like, why are you so excited? And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, I thought we were gonna be doing this since I was 1. I'm like 46 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, it took this freaking long for this to happen. I'm just like, it's happening. That's the thing. It's happening. I went on Instagram the other day and I saw some guy teaching my teachings.
Really?
And I don't know him. I don't know if he knows me. But what I know is he's reaching lots of people. And that's what matters, you
Right.
know?
That's right.
And I was like, okay, because, you know, when we get there, everybody will be sharing love and teaching love and how to heal yourself. And you know what I mean? Like all those things that people are looking for and they want, and they need. And I have a new certification coming up November 15th or November 13th starting. I'm going to plug it here. I have spots for 7 more people.
What is it? What is it?
And
Oh,
social emotional
certification for
learning.
people.
It's all heart based social emotional learning. So I wrote 14 books. 8 of them are stacking modules that you can teach turnkey, literally, like have anybody in front of you and be like, okay, we're going to learn how to love ourselves. And let's do this. And let's do that. And let's talk about this. And how does this feel? And you know what I mean? This whole thing. And then there's like 7 more. So it goes through self-love, being the medicine, finding out your gifts, your mission, your purpose, who you are here, what you're doing here. Then we go into further exploration. So it's self-love and embodiment practices, exploration into gifts, missions, and purpose, and then launching yourself out into the world. We bridge it with family, community, and then the planet. And then they'll be certified in social emotional learning, but the real stuff, because I've been doing it since 1993 when no one was doing it in the schools. And somehow the public education system hijacked the SEL, and then they are doing everything except the heart. And they're putting up a barrier to letting it in. I am not happy about that part. I'm not sure what to do about it, but I'll find a way. And so the more people that we have empowered with the teachings, you just bring it in anyway. You bring it into the classroom. It doesn't take long. You know, it's like, you know how energy goes where it's supposed to go when you're touching it or paying attention. You know, it's like, man, I'm so excited. So seladvancement.org is the website.
SEL
for all that.
Advancement. SELadvancement.org.
Yep.
Does because I mean, I've talked to a lot of practitioners over the years, and
Yeah, sure.
and like even here with my friends here, they have a very comprehensive kind of thing, and really when you get down to it, you know, I can look at a lot of different ones. Not to take anything away, I think your point about the guy, I like what you said because it doesn't matter how he found it, but
Right.
because it's being put out there. But I think what's certainly makes sense to me that people are downloading, like you may have come from the same branch of the tree of life as he did. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's.
Oh, absolutely. I
It's,
mean, we came here to help
yeah.
each other,
Yeah. So I mean,
right?
yeah. Now you're because I want to talk more about that for sure. In this this certification,
Okay.
or even in your practitionership, like when you work
Okay.
with people,
Okay.
what's the general? Would it be, would you, because you kind of already mentioned it, would it be embodiment? Would that kind of cover most of the ground?
Yeah, embodiment and then mission and purpose and inspiration so you can go out and do your thing, right? So
Okay.
that you're equipped with everything you wanted to be equipped with when you came here. So, because a lot of people still don't know who they are or what they're doing here, right? And so there are turnkey tools and techniques to make it so you know and you figure it out and you can find it. And
Have you
you know, it took, mhm.
have you noticed since COVID started, that 2 year period, 2020 and 2021, and maybe the first part of this year before it started to fade, but I mean just the impetus of COVID and all of the stuff that went with it seemed to wake a lot of people up. Are you seeing that? Like even being in a small town and being a bit witchy, white witchy.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, do you? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, are you
Yeah.
seeing? Are you seeing
Yeah.
some expansion and awareness of people?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Um it I thought I was going to die from failure when COVID hit. Because I came in to help lift everything into love, and it wasn't working. And I know some people who went and did some things that I don't think they should have done.
Mm-hmm.
And they messed with some ancient energy, which is also futuristic energy, and they didn't know any better. And they went out and they engaged it at the same time that I threw my hands up and said, I've done everything, I've tried everything, and I got nothing left. I have no idea what to do here. And then COVID hit. And I was like, oh shit.
I'm kind of feeling like that right now.
I was like, oh shit. You know, and I was just like, because it was, there was nothing happening. Like, all those children stood up in 2019, millions of children, and you know, I work with them and for them and have been lifting and giving them a platform from my energy for a decade next year. And they did everything they could. They even got to the UN. They got to the White House. They talked to everyone all over the earth, and nobody did a thing different to help them. Nothing. And so if our children are crying out, change, 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 help, 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 and nobody does anything, what do you have? You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God. And I said, God, I'm sorry, but they're not getting it, and I don't know what to do. And then those people that I told you about who have very good hearts, but went and engaged with that ancient energy, went and did that thing. I think the combination of that, along with where everybody was at and whatever happened there to tweak that whole thing, like, then it all happened. And I went into the deepest, darkest depression of my life. I was like, oh my God, people are dying everywhere. This is terrible. This is just terrible. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. I was just like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't sing. I was devastated.
You couldn't sing.
I felt
That's
I
wild.
couldn't do any of the things that made me, other than I was just so depressed. I can't even tell you. It was the darkest time of my life. And all these souls, I could just see them leaving. I see the new ones coming. Everybody's leaving and coming, and I was just like in a constant state of prayer, you know, just prayer. And then, thank God, you know, one by one or soul group by soul group, people started to figure out who they were, right? And got a sense that they were something more, right? That there was something more than what we had been doing and what we had been living and what we had created. Well, and now, oh my God, like everywhere I look, I could cry tears of joy for seeing. And, you know, like now we've figured out how to overcome that illness for the most part, you know, like we're not losing people like we were. And, you know, our bodies have adapted and the energy has changed. And, you know,
I mean, I don't know if we even know, you know, what this,
I know,
what
it's
this,
amazing.
So,
like,
I mean, if you can't get your, you know, if you don't get your information, like you have a, you know, and those like you have an advantage to be able to go and see that. But we don't even know who, you know. But anyway, let's move that one over because I want to talk about these children.
I know, right?
I want to talk about these children. Well, it's fascinating because I remember talking to you earlier what your plans were. And so you go to the White House, you talk to these dignitaries, you get the word out. These children do.
Yeah.
And they're still not listened to. But over the last couple of years, and especially like this year, we've had kids on. We've had, you know, parents talking about the kids. And it's just mind-blowing. These 2 years old, 3, 4-year-olds, you know, like they're bringing something to the table here that I don't believe is going to be something that can be ignored or suppressed. And I can't. I could go back and tell you 3 or 4 anecdotes of people telling me about their children or whatever. But and it's not even the what sensationalistic part. Like kid says, "Hey, I'm from this blue planet. I'm an astrophysicist, and I've come here to clean the planet up." Or this beautiful kid in Texas, our friend Amanda lives in Blanco, and she lives on a piece of land, and she has a 4-year-old. And Mommy, I go to the rainbow planet all the time, and by the way, there's a rainbow cat there on the driveway. She can't see it, and Amanda's lit. So I mean, like, and there's some other things that would probably make that a little bit more substantial, what I'm trying to say, but I don't think they're going to be able to be ignored. You work with kids a lot. Are you seeing something in that group that's noticeable, that's different than it has been?
Every single one of them is ready. And so that's why it's so important not to continue to allow their education to be dumbed down to the basics of arithmetic, science, and English.
Well, they won't put up with it.
That's why they're losing it. That's why some of them are losing it.
They won't put up with it.
Because, well, and they know there's something else.
Right, right.
But yet they're still pretending in the public system that they're just regular.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. And then, of course, they give them the drugs, the Ritalin and the whatever. Oh, you have ADHD.
Well, there's so many.
Everybody has ADHD.
ADHD is a sole characteristic in the physical body. We can all have it from time to time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and Asperger's and
oh my God.
But so I was going to ask you too, like, okay, God, I had it about these kids.
You got it.
Well, I see. But what I noticed this year was the stories started to, or maybe I heard more or something, and it was the ages, though. It was the 1.5, 2-year, 4-year, 3-year, 5-year-old, 6 years old. But if I look at some of my interactions with young people over the years that are less conditioned, like if I even look at my kids, my youngest is 20 years old. And so going back about 5 years, her mom passed. I was on the road. She was living with relatives, and she says, I'm not doing this. And I said to her, look, you're 15 years old. We've already been through the grind. And I said, you can either, I can't back up now. I'm on the road. I'm living out of a suitcase. Yeah. I said, you can come live with me. That'll be your only choice because the state will take you. They already tried before, right? Mm-hmm. And so anyway, she manifested a solution, and ended up living with a friend and becoming very close with her mother and graduated high school. Now, very intelligent, very high aptitude. And she just said to me, and it was all feeling though, right? Mm-hmm. There was no detailed explanation. That's what I'm picking up from these kids, or when I hear stories about these kids. I saw it in her. And she said, Dad, I'm not going to college. And of all my kids, they're all smart. But like she would be, the youngest are always the smartest, right? Because they absorb more. And so she was just.
We know more too, but
but she just said, in her own words, it doesn't feel right. I want to be an art curator and I want to make movies. And I'm like, okay. And 2 years later, 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. She's on her way. She's in an art gallery doing her thing and dabbling in whatever. But it's all from the heart. It's all from feeling. And that's what I'm seeing. I don't see how if this continues, and it has to be happening. Because God knows, during that 2-year period when everybody was in quarantine, I mean, they said they had a whole bunch of babies when World War II happened, right? So, there's got to be a lot of whoopee being going on, and there's got to be a lot of kids. Now, these kids are going to be what? 1, 2, 3 years old. What happens in 2 or 3 years when these COVID kids hit, en masse, and they have this same type of innate inclination to serve self, to be in the heart, right? I don't care how big the armies are, and I don't care how strict the educational institutions are, they won't do it. And you work with kids, so you know what I'm talking about.
I do. And I work a lot with grown-ups too, and emergency workers,
Hmm.
firefighters, veterans. Um, the awakening is happening in the hearts of every man, woman, and child on this
Yeah.
planet, and it is an unstoppable movement. It is the second coming. It is what is happening. And, every army general I have met, um, their hearts are open. They're
Really?
still doing the work because they don't know how to not be a cog in the system, right? Like, so en masse, it has to transform en
Absolutely.
masse. And then that way, nobody's picked out and hurt, right? Like
Yeah.
if it happens as a movement and it happens in the heart and it happens as walking creations of God on the earth, along with the planet supporting us and the light supporting us and the company of heaven supporting us and all the dimensions, all the timelines and all the different universes supporting us, it's unstoppable. Unstoppable. The only problem is the opiate crisis.
Well,
So
I
I have to
mean,
tell you something.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I have to tell you something. So I about I guess it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. Um I had one of these, like, you know, essentially I had to get really I had to admit it to myself, and I said, all right, I had seen this rainbow pill, rainbow opiate thing come through, and our borders are open, and the cartel has made fentanyl, which is deadly, in
Yeah.
microdoses deadly, into colorful Lego like pills, and they're everywhere. And I was like, my son, I don't know if you know this or anybody knows this, but he's been battling opiates since he had a head injury in the hospital. And what
How old is
happens
he?
if
How
he's
old?
28,
Okay.
28.
All right.
And he helped me bring in the awakening. Literally was 9 years old on the road with me bringing in the awakening in 2004. And I taught him everything I know. He is one of our strongest warriors for sure. And he's on, he's working on it. He's working on it. I'm not going to give power to any of that shit anymore. So the thing is that our children are innocent and beautiful and filled with love. And it seems like every person I met through my son who's on opiates, who is a like beautiful angel, and they're trapped on these drugs.
Hmm.
And it's like disgusting and awful. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone ever in my life. And I, while I'm speaking, would love to just clear the energy and the planet of this entire thing, like, be gone. So I was crying after I saw what they had done, because we are the rainbow prophecy. We are the rainbow warriors, and we are here en masse from everywhere to make this love really be a tangible, beautiful, living experience. And I was crying, and I said, God, there's no way. I don't know how we're going to battle this one. This one is one of those ones, I don't know how we're going to get through this. And I got real, and I said, look, I need an army. Like, I need an army. I need an army for love, so we can battle these drugs, these opiates. And God goes, there's a legion of you here already.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, of course, I thought of all the people who've listened to my music, all the people I've met, I've seen, the people who are working with Patty Robles or Deepak Chopra or, Marianne Williamson. Like, we come in facets of color. I meet angels at the grocery store, like, we're everywhere. And I was like, okay. So I asked permission. Can I please form an army for love? Can I please help build a legion of love? And I got a solid yes. So that night and through the morning, I created a website called oneloverising.org and put out a call. and ask people to sign up for the Legion of Love. And I don't know exactly what the missions are yet.
When did this happen? When did you set this up?
I think it was 3-4 weekends ago. I'd have
Okay.
to get back with you on the date. Three or
Okay.
4 weekends ago, through the full moon, whenever the
Right.
full moon was. And that was when that was. And we have had hundreds of people sign up already.
Really?
Hundreds
Far
of
out.
people have signed up, and this, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, we already had the hashtag One Love Rising. We already had, all the work we've done to bring people together, our various ways to unite. And anyway, so that's happening. So sign up for the Legion of Love, because we're going to need it. And I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing with it, other than for sure the water and for sure the children, figuring out more of how to be active and to support, clean water. And I had just come back from the Dakotas, gathering with our Indigenous relations, the Lakota Dakota Sioux Nation, and others. And they had told me about this dairy farm in the Dakotas that is polluting the Dakota aquifer, which sits on a continental divide. And it is literally polluting the drinking water of millions of people. So when you sign up to oneloverising.org to be in the Legion of Love, it'll kick you back a message with a phone number to call. There's no laws, EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. There are no laws protecting the water in North and South Dakota. So people are like, they have all this power now, superpowers, and there's things we can actually do, like save the water. And I would have gone ahead and made the website Save the Water, but thank God this beautiful man already made Save the Water, and they've been running since 1970 something. Frank Ramos, I'm going to give him a shout out. So already I called the EPA and filed a complaint against this dairy farm. And then I have the PowerPoint presentation from Chief Looking Horse that we've been sending out, because they did like the last 10 years of study.
I've seen him on YouTube.
Yeah, he's amazing. You should watch our interview that we did. How to save the world. With Chief Looking.
But my work, I think, or my approach is a bit different. I mean, I know everybody's different. I don't resonate energetically with fighting the establishment. Let me change my word. I don't think we can remedy things through the institutions that are already
in existence,
maligned and corrupted. Now, I'm a big believer, more every day, that we can reconstruct instead of deconstruct and then rebuild. But I have more faith in the energy. I mean, we've had GMOs, chemtrails, fluoride, you name it, programming. Think about the level of programming we had. I'm 60, so in the 60s as a young person, or even if I look at, because TVs came out in the 50s. Like if I look at my parents and grandparents, I mean, it was just a routine. We all came and sat and got programmed. I remember Bobby Kennedy's assassination, MLK, Vietnam pictures, very graphic on the news every night. So for me, I totally get, and I have a lot of friends that are very active. I have a friend that's real interesting in Australia. She's an attorney. And she came on and she said, everyone's talking about being in 5D. I feel like 5D's here. I want to go into the legal system and convert it from the inside out, right? And I thought, wow, that's cool. Well. But everybody has their inclinations and their specialties. But I just look at it this way, like, I don't underestimate this energy. Like, if it's physically transforming us, which I know it is for me, I should not be here. I certainly shouldn't be in the shape I'm in at 60, not with the life I've led, right? And I think a lot of people could say that, but it just seems like, we look at these things, and I think everybody has a piece, no doubt, but I'm just speaking in a very general, overall sense that, and I'll tell you, one of the reasons, Heidi, that I'm coming this way so fast is because of these kids. How in the hell can, I'm talking to these people, and not just Elsa and her family, but other ones, and even in the past 2 weeks. How can people, how could that be resisted? These are children, they're their children, and they're telling them things that, how do you know that? And that's just a characteristic of the frequency that they're carrying. They're like tuning forks. So I don't see, if we're going to have more and more and more of that segment of the population, I don't see how it can be stopped. Now, will it be done by means that we could comprehend? Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, I believe me, I've spent so much time in even here. I want to get out of America. I can't get out of America because of the lawless laws, and I got to go through the system, and I got to do this and do that. And so believe me, I've got an axe to grind. But I also know I can't have a charge, therefore I can't really grind that axe. Or I could, but I just can't use it, right? I mean, so I don't know. It's interesting, but I really, like even the last time we talked with the initiative you had going then. See, to me, the fact that that's why I said, when did you do this? Like the fact that you made that decision and you implanted it and you embodied it and anchored it, that to me, the energy of that alone, that's what I'm saying that we're missing. Now, the follow through and building it and all that, yeah, I get that. But man, you just doing that, putting your foot down and then gathering, you already said hundreds of people. That's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy. And better than anybody, you're having a relationship with two of your aspects. And doing work. But I mean, think about what you're doing. You're creating this vortex. And all these people that sign up have the same energy. So what do you think you guys are doing when we're asleep? You know what I mean?
Ha! Oh my gosh.
You know
I
what I'm
can't even
saying?
tell you how many of the dreams where we're breaking people free.
Yeah.
Like always. Oh my gosh. If I had tactical gear for what I have in the other world, like, oh my goodness gracious. Like, and I'm with you and I support you fully in what you're feeling and what you're saying. Like in the 2000s, I literally had, my friend was a remote viewer for Osama bin Laden. He's the one who found him for CSIS, and then they dropped the bomb on him and did that whole thing.
Well,
and he told them about me and
Really?
sent them to my house. And they're like, oh, well, we heard that, you work with UFOs and the aliens. And I was like, I'm just a singer and I don't know nothing.
So this guy was with the military.
He was a civilian who was hired because of his psychic ability for remote viewing, and now, it's like he said when he met me, all this stuff flew open for him, like he had all these like new codes come in and these new abilities come in. And, I hear that often with people when they meet me, like their stuff comes down and it comes in right.
Well, that's another factor because you, like everyone, but I mean, you have a certain makeup, and you are like a tuning fork, and that's like that's like a merging.
Thank God for gifts, right? And thank God for other people's gifts, also, because like there's some people who are really good at. What I would like to see is like all of the really strong people like work together and help transform those systems. What I was going to say is in the 2000s, I was under the radar, traveling. City to city, state to state, country to country, doing the work. No, I lost my purse in Arizona, no driver's license. My insurance was out because I had lived in Mexico. But I traveled across 3 borders and had no problem. You know what I mean? Like, you're right about the energetics being the foundational practice and principle here, which is what I'm all on about. Like,
yeah, of course.
Be your most powerful self. Like, please, OMG, let's go. Like be your most powerful self. Know what you're doing here, and connecting with your allies, and of course God, because for me, like, I work for God, period. And so it's like the light and the energy and the listening and the inner guidance system, like, it's all huge, and we have to be in tune to that stuff. And you're right, these children are doing it, and they're here, and the platform is there for them, an energetic platform for them to launch. And the more people, like, join me in June, please, and join me in everything, please, because like, our energy together gives a bigger platform for everybody to launch from.
Yeah.
And then they're safe, right? And then there's no problem. It's just love, right? Love is here. Love supports, it protects, it holds, it nurtures, it cares for, it uplifts, it empowers, it's miracles, it's grandiose, it's also simple and kind and timid and cool, and all these beautiful things. And so it's our 10th year next year, 2023. And the platform launches in January 1. International Children Love, period. That's 2023. International Children Love. And we're going to go and take it as far as we possibly can. I'm going to take it as far as I possibly can. For all of everyone here. And Malela is on the freaking bus shelters. She's like the girl revolution, the yoni revolution, the divine rising of a feminine energy inside of masculine and feminine merging together. I mean, we are one, right? So let's just get her done.
Well,
and like, the teachers are in the classrooms,
You're fired up. And you should be.
I am.
And you should be.
It's happening. It's
Damn
totally
right
happening.
it is. Damn right it is.
So I love you.
I love you too. I would keep talking, but I've got a meeting with a guy, Michael.
Okay, good.
And yeah, I really applaud you for what you're doing. And what are the names of the websites again? The new one.
Okay, so we'll send everybody to HeidiLittle.com for fun art, music, and all the links to everywhere. Right. And then seladvancement.org is our education site. And there's a new course under classes and workshops down at the very bottom. It's a very easy and not expensive, and it lasts from November 13th through January 15th on a Sunday from 4 to 7, 3 hours. But you got to do the work throughout the week on yourself. So, but it is healing, restorative, regenerative, empowering, inspiring, exploratory, and fun. So hopefully people will. I have 7 more spots left. So.
But the one for the kids, that was onelove.org?
That's the league. That's the Legion of Love.
Legion
of Love. OneLove.org.
Yeah,
that's
OneLove.org.
for us just coming together right now.
Right, I got you.
As a literal army of love.
Yeah.
And so some people are going to feel that call. And then the other is internationalchildrensmonth.com.
Right on. All right. Well, you keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see you again, and may see you passing through Texas, especially now that I know where you live, Smithville.
Oh, okay. Yay! I know. Let's do a music festival.
We're on the same page.
Another one.
Yeah. Texas would be a good one. That would be a good one. Yeah. I actually talked about it, but I kind of got derailed there for a bit, though. All right.
No, you had one though. You did have an event.
Yeah, we did. We had one in Arkansas.
I wanted to go, but I couldn't go.
I did too. I couldn't go either.
What?
You don't know the story? Ask somebody. It's hilarious. Okay.
Oh, okay. I love you.
Love you. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
All right. See y'all.